What's up, everyone? It's me, Adam Prime, and we are back for another TokuBrew podcast this week in Toku. And with me, as always, is the... I'm realizing...
Drum roll? Like,
to-
what?
I would say something about Punk Jack, but I have nothing... I don't think we saw Punk Jack. Oh, wait, no, we did. I don't know. Who are you?
I don't know. Hi, I'm Stormy. #1 Punk Jack fan. President of the Punk Jack fan club.
Yes, we established this last episode.
Exactly. I don't know why you didn't just say that.
I don't know. But we have actually 3 things again this week. This time we have another...
Do we?
Yeah, we have another Secrets of King Reculus
Oh,
special.
right. Thank you.
Which is much shorter than the Kamen Rider Geats Punk Jack thing.
Yeah, they're 7 minutes.
Yeah. Do you just want to talk about this real quick? There's not a whole lot.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
It's quite literally, last time he was like, I murdered somebody.
I demand to be put on trial, like right now.
And you pretty much just... Rita's just like, all right, you're on trial.
I know you're up to something. What are you up to, essentially?
And it's just like, oh, yeah, by the way, isn't the person you stabbed and murdered, isn't it a person you already said you were going to kill? And he's like, yeah, because anyone who knows our country's secrets has to die. It's
Interesting.
like, why would you do that? You fucking creep?
But it turns out...
Yeah, so it turns out he was pretty much just using this as a plan.
Yeah, because of course he was. I knew there was something, but it was basically along the lines of... How would you describe it? Like, because the body goes missing. Because the Bugnark separated from the lady. I don't remember her name. Sugar. Sugar lady.
Fidelia or something like that.
Whatever. She's not important. They separated and... Like, the girl's body disappeared.
Yeah, and they want more information. Which, by the way, there was this weird scene with the Bugnark.
It looked straight out of, like, PBS, like, Wiggles. Like,
I have no idea what the hell this was. Like, it was just really weird.
It was
like a
talking...
grass well, and there was, like, perspective shots. And he got so pissed off on him at the end that he shot a laser at him.
He's firing his laser. Blah. But, he basically wanted a witness. Reculus wanted a witness to just be like, well, you wanted to believe me if I told you that the body disappeared. Well, now you have to help me with that, right?
Yeah, and now it's just like, no, let me go. And Rita's like, you used me, you son of a bitch. I want you to die.
But you're right, you're off trial. And then, like cuts his handcuffs off. Which I noticed, like, did you ever realize the kind of significance behind Rita doing that? It's kind of badass of like, oh yeah, you're off the hook. You're not technically chained or anything, but I've still got my cuffs on you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And then we immediately go into him summoning King Oger Zero. This is 7 minutes. How quick do you think this was? Mm-hmm. And we actually got to see that Reculus has the red line that Gira has on his forehead.
Oh yeah, the 2 red lines. And
which
something I hadn't noticed before, probably because he purposefully covers it with his emo bangs, but like...
Yeah, I don't know if it's like, I wonder if that was a detail they were hiding, under the hair. It's
more than likely. I thought it was really cool, and I didn't notice it until after you pointed it out.
Yeah, and then we just get to King Oger Zero kicking ass, but then also him revealing, it's on autopilot! Ooh!
Oh yeah, he's fighting Tarantula. Or no?
No, he's not fighting Tarantula.
I'm sorry,
just fighting the Bugnark from last episode.
Yeah, I looked up, and I saw a different screenshot. My bad.
And that was pretty much the episode, is him being like, I'll deal with you, Bugnark. And I think he transforms into Okuagata, and then it's like, it's over. Go home.
Yeah, but the Bugnark that we thought died from before was trying to figure out the secrets of the sword and stuff like that. Yeah. And then Reculus just walked up like, ha ha ha, it was on autopilot.
Yeah, it's like, I outsmarted you, you son of a bitch.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Alright.
Again, 7 minutes.
Yeah, 7 minutes. That's all I have to say about the Reculus.
I will say, I like
that they call him the worst.
It empty looks really interesting. It almost looks like a little guy with like a face. He's like,
little man.
Little man.
And now we get to
the actual episode.
The actual episode, which was really good this week.
Is really good.
Himino's pissed.
So, yeah, he's going along with the other little, like, whispery voice Bugnark friend. And Mantis is just like, you son of a bitch, you come back here. And they actually, like, manage to, like, knock them down and beat them out of their vehicle. Beat out of the spider. Just beat him out of the spider.
And immediately starts interrogating him, takes her sword back. And,
She takes all the swords back, I think, actually.
well, yeah. And he's literally just being like, hey, I don't know what you're talking about, because he doesn't know what the Furies of the Gods is. And
The Fury of the Gods, yeah.
yeah, and he's just like, hey, 15 years ago to me is like yesterday to you. It's kind of, it's barely remembering. Or whatever. And she is getting pissed. And
she's being very forward, basically just,
yeah.
Were you involved in this?
Yeah.
Because, like, she's realized that he can talk to and thinks that he can control the others, but...
The Bugnark.
Not the Bugnark, the gods.
With Tarantula.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with Tarantula, yeah, they think they're controlling it, and they were like, hey, wait, is the cicada monster with you, or the cicada shoe god? And they're like, yeah, that's Tarantula's friend. And then
They're
she
friends with
immediately
tarantulas.
does a racist move, and then apparently assumes all cicadas are evil because of they were the main sign of the Fury of the Gods, apparently. We get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, we had mentioned them. We thought they were locusts. Turns
Yeah.
out they're cicadas, which makes more sense.
And we legitimately then get to them fighting.
By the way, in the intro, it was a little different. He, like, pulled a face this time. Jeremy pulled a face.
I hope they're changing it every episode, because I will screenshot every single one.
I feel like they would probably run out of ideas real quickly, though.
You never know.
But anyway, yeah, so she explains, like, exactly what happened. It's just like, oh, my parents were assassinated, and they used Scorpy's venom to do it.
Oh, yeah, he tells him that he was meditating. He's like, oh, what were you doing? He's like, oh, I was meditating for that year.
And, interesting, they actually don't say Scorpy, they actually do say
God Scorpion.
God Scorpion.
Yeah, they
like
said they used them, and he does say his sincerest condolences. He does see me, he's like, oh, I'm sorry you lost your parents.
But it doesn't exactly seem... like, real. Like,
yeah, Jeremy does his usual thing of saying, hey, look at everything, look between the lines.
Read
and
between the lines. And she's just like, fuck you. And what can I say, but she wrecks his ass.
Well, he didn't fight back.
Yeah, he's not, like, necessarily, like, actually fighting back. He's more defending himself, but she still wrecks him.
Yeah, she shows how kind of strong she really can be.
And another compliment of just, like, the choreography in this. Like, I mentioned, like, oh... because I'm used to, like, seeing, like, medieval stuff with, like, capes and swords and stuff, legitimately really good sword acting, because she wields, like, her sword, obviously, but what's it called? Like, the shield that also has a blade on it?
The King's Weapon.
The King's Weapon. And it just looks so smooth and so sleek, and, like, actual, like, sword fighting moves, rather than just flailing the thing at the person, right?
Yeah.
I was very impressed with it. Felt deserved a mention.
Yeah, and, like, she immediately is like, oh, I'll kill you myself. And all of a sudden, that's when Jeremy's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're not gonna actually kill me.
She was.
And Sebastian literally runs up saying, wait! And then...
Gira, who looks like Sebastian, is
No,
like,
it's not Gira.
Oh, yeah, right.
Well, no, it's one Sebastian.
Don't do that.
Yeah, one Sebastian, then another Sebastian shows up, and you're like, oh, maybe it's Gira, but it was Bug. And he was just like, get away from here, Jeremy! And Jeremy's like, I'm out.
And it's like, I did it, and he runs away. But with the Bugnark...
Yeah, we get an old man Bugnark this week.
I love this villain. I love the design. It's very much like if, like, a modern design was made in, like, the 50s or 70s of Kamen Rider. Like, this looks like a Vault, like, maybe, like, his black hole form, you know? From Kamen Rider Build.
I could see black hole vibes.
Or, was it Ninja or, like...
Shinkenger.
Shinkenger, where it looks like kanji on his face. I wonder if it is or not. I don't think so, but...
I doubt it.
It's just, like, it's such a cool design, and he's very much like that, oh, I'm an older man, and I have dementia, and I don't remember a whole
But I'm
lot
also
of things.
super strong because I know the old ways.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's kind of been a theme in this world, like, for world building. It's very much, if the older you are, the stronger you are, it seems. That's just kind of like the consistency that I've noticed, I guess.
Yeah, and that's just pretty much it. The like Death Nyark are like, hey, you have to get Jeremy. He's like, He's like, you can lure out the king so you can get the Jeremy, and he's just like, okay, I guess I'll go do that.
Now where's my pudding?
And then we immediately get to everyone finding out what Himino is doing and just being like, I'm looking for Jeremy. She is out for blood.
She's like absolutely convinced that like
he did it,
and that
she even said he did it.
And interesting thing that we haven't heard, B actually is just like, well, I thought that was a natural disaster. And I was like, yeah, that would kind of be what their natural disasters look like, huh? And the fact that someone has a completely different view of it, of not just, oh, these guys are attacking, of just, oh, it was a disaster that happened. It was like a plague, essentially. And Himino actually turns to Rita, just like, what would their sentence be if this was true? And of course, Rita is like, doing their thing of like, well, I'd have to interrogate, I'd have to like find the evidence, I'd have to speak with them. And then just like, nah, he gets the death penalty, right?
And he's just like, what? And this is literally Gyra's just like, you're acting weird.
Yeah, you're acting strangely. And just Himino is just off. Like,
yeah. Okay, wait, let's just continue with the Himino stuff, and then we will go to the Jeremy stuff. Because we intersperse the Jeremy stuff. And we literally just have her telling Gyra, just being like, you have to help me. You need to find Scorpion, all of them. Like, Tarantula's controlling them, and he's like, Taranchito did nothing wrong. It's like, he even says, hey, they've known each other for a long time, they went willingly, and she is not having any of it.
And that is kind of even depicted in the mural that you were mentioning, and like the legend of like, yeah, like every time you see those three together, Lord Tarantula is right there.
Yeah, the Tarantula's there too. And so it's like, he's literally stating that they have a relationship and went with it willingly. And again, she's just being like, no, because she's just so convinced that Jeremy's the one who did it, just because of the one cicada monster. And it's just kind of sad, but it's like, I get it.
Specifically the person that ejected them with venom, she's completely convinced that was him.
And we immediately go to Gokon right as like Rita's getting home, and like fucking Fiona or whatever we call her.
Yeah, it was Fiona.
Morphonia is just like, I found a thing, and you just see Jeremy laying on the ground,
covered in snow.
Yeah, and he's just like, I was looking for somewhere quiet, and it's just like, oh my god,
he was overwhelmed by all the noise.
It's like, and I'm like, oh my god, he tried to go home.
Yeah, I feel like that pretty much confirms that that's exactly where he must have been raised, because like he would find solace in like the cold and the quiet of that country, because that's kind of where that's his home up. That's almost his home if you think about it. And just like all injured and just laying there, just like, I just needed to rest for a minute. Just, it kind of broke my heart a bit.
And they snowman him. Your favorite prop.
I love it. I hope they reuse it the whole series.
And they immediately go into what happened with him 15 years ago. Sorry, we had technical difficulties, but we pick up right in Jeremy's trial. Jeremy's just like, because
I was meditating.
Rita was like, what were you doing 15 years ago? He's like, I was organizing my stories. Meditating, some would say. And then Morphonia is immediately just like, all right, this is actually what happened in what he was doing 15 years ago. There was a corpse that doesn't decay on display found in a cave.
And put on display as like a freak show thing.
Yeah.
Like a circus.
In a circus. Do you want to go into what you thought it was?
So, when I was first watching this, I had completely forgotten that he had just said, like, oh, 15 years is like yesterday to me. And for whatever reason, my brain immediately thought that this was like child him, just like kind of, because I didn't read the thing yet. I just saw like the pictures. And I was just like, him as like a kid, like, tied up in a cage on display as a freak because he was half Bugnark. And I was like, oh my god, that's the saddest shit I've ever seen. And it turns out, and then they started playing goofy music, and I'm like, what's happening?
And then he just says, he's like, oh, yeah, a year-long nap. It was gonna happen at some point.
I was sleeping.
So yeah, he was just sleeping for the whole year.
Yeah, and I was just like, and then you were like, 15 years ago was like yesterday to him, and I was like, fuck, you're right.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like he's just she's just like, yeah, by the way, nobody would have known that you were trying to sleep
But it
or
doesn't
anything.
allude to that in whatsoever.
And just pretty much telling Jeremy he fucked up.
Aggravating.
And like, even, like, gets Jeremy to kind of feel bad to reveal that, like, the Wrath of the Gods kind of screwed everyone over, and that even Himino had to take on her throne as a child.
And just like, ugh. Rough.
It just was really rough. And it's
basically,
like,
Rita really just rails into him just how much he offended her.
Yeah. Okay, I said this throughout the episodes, and like, this is literally, he even says he didn't read between the lines. And this is something I was saying, since he's shown up, we had his intro episode where you find out kind of and set up who he is, and then you get him showing what his motivation is in episode 2. And then you show his resolve by showing how equal he is to all the parties by fucking them up last episode, and now this is the episode where he gets humbled, realizing that
exactly. And
that
I thought
shit's
that was
happening everyone else.
And I just thought that was really well put, and it really just kind of put something into perspective of just how Sentai has been treated a little bit, of just, you know, like, oh, they go on forever. Like, they have like 50 episodes at least, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like they have such a long time to tell a story, and that's just something that some writers struggle with so much, of just like, oh, having like a short time span.
I feel it's pretty well paced, honestly.
Or like in like Sentai, like sometimes it's like, oh, like they didn't take things into account and it's a little, the pacing is off or something. But King Odra has done it perfectly. I feel like this person wrote a short show and then was like, oh, I have 50 episodes to do it. Great. I'm going to go in and expand on all of these little things that, because I can.
Well, yeah, because it's like there's so many different
Sorry for whistling.
story ends to this, honestly, and it's really good. And after this, he's like, I would like to apologize to her, and I could give her maybe some information about something else. It's like, just as a sign of forgiveness and everything. And she's just like, and what kind of information would that be? And he's like,
with the most like eye sparkling baby face I've ever seen in my whole life.
He's like, are you familiar with MUFON?
And when I tell you, Rita's just like, fuck, you talk right now. Like, they get like so just like hyper about it.
Yeah, and we cut there.
Yeah, and that's where it cuts.
And we literally just see Himino kicking this Bugnark's ass, the old Bugnark that was kind of being a pain in the butt.
Who was kicking
else.
Deathnark's ass earlier, by the way? So this guy, he does mean business. The reason we said that he was talented is because he was kind of handing everyone their asses like it was a buffet. Like,
yeah, and she just kind of gets whipped away, and we then have another confrontation with the other King Ogers.
There's some, again, great choreography in here.
Yeah.
I'm strong and I'm beautiful. I am the queen.
Yeah, if this was Nightmare on Elm Street 3, she'd be beautiful and bad. Do you remember? Who remembers Dream Warriors?
Dream Warriors.
It's a bitchin' song.
It's a good song.
But
yeah, like Yura, especially, like
because she's just so bloodthirsty, and like all her people are injured, and she's not going to go help them or anything. She's just going after Jeremy. She just got on her phone and just said,
"Hey, send the medics. Send the medics." And Gira, like, is really talking to her not in his persona for most of this. And we've also kind of realized his tell in this episode.
Yeah.
Of when he's putting on his, like, tyrant persona. Like, what I've noticed, I don't know if you noticed anything else.
No.
Did you? He, like, straightens up. He, like, puts his head up and his shoulders back. You know, he just, like, gets taller, like, when he's going into that persona.
Tries to make himself seem bigger.
He changes his voice a little bit too. It just was really cute that he was talking to her very real for a minute and then used that as an opportunity to just insult the fuck out of her.
Oh wait, but before he goes fully into it, Yama just like hacks into the computers and is like, all right,
he interrupts an episode of Muffin.
Yeah, and just like, hey, you guys,
your queen has beef with this guy. If you find him and bring him into her, she'll give you anything you want.
Well, Kaguragi is the one who was like, hey.
It was his idea.
And she'll give you all the money you want.
And she just didn't argue, I guess.
Yeah, so, and then Gaira is immediately just like, hey, you need to calm down. Do you know he did it and everything? It's just like, they're not being controlled or anything. And just like, it's just kind of berates her to just be like, hey, I get it, you're upset. But you need to calm
this
down.
isn't you. Like, you're literally, like, not acting like yourself anymore. This is going too far. And he even, like, really, you see, like, her offended face, like, just such venom in her eyes, especially if you compare it to, like, the shot next to it. Of just, like, you've become too hideous for words, and just, oh, you see, she's seething.
And we even see Jeremy in the background when Rita comes in.
Again, with just, like, the saddest face I've ever seen on a person.
Yeah, he's just so sad.
He looks like a kicked puppy.
And
I love it.
Rita's just like, he wants to reconcile for you
Offending
with information. Yeah. And she's just like, what is the information? And she's pretty much just like, do you know what...
The origins of the cartoon Muffin, because
Muffin and me is...
Rita already had heard about Muffin from Himino, like, during an earlier episode.
So yeah, and apparently it was made to support her. It was a work to be a prism of the kindness created by the nation of Ishibana. So and she even calls Muffin and me a
so
masterpiece.
intensely.
Yeah, she is showing how much she loves.
What is it called? That is the origin of the eternal masterpiece and work of art, me and Muffin.
Me and Muffin.
And it's so sweet.
Yeah, and she's just like, nobody can blame you for remembering your past, but you also have to make sure you're focusing what's going on in the future.
You have to look at the present.
And it was just so weirdly interesting because it's like it just pretty much then led to them being like, oh my god, and then a wheelchair girl, which we forgot to mention earlier. She's no longer in the wheelchair.
Yeah, you actually see it in the background a little bit.
Yeah, you see it in the background. And she's just like, I guess I'll help find Jeremy. And then
there
runs into the forest of being like, man, I must be lucky. There he is.
And she just grabs him and brings him to her.
Yeah, have him in full cryptid mode.
And
she is literally about to slaughter Jeremy in front of this little girl. And you have Gyra being like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But, and she asks him just like, were you involved with the Fury of the Gods 15 years ago?
And this is the most straightforward we've ever seen him talk.
I've never seen him be so, like, actually serious and no joking and no riddles or anything. He's just like, I was not. There's just, he gave her his straightforward answer. And then, like, I gotta say, like, he explains that Rita told them what happened, but he calls Rita the Supreme Justice, and man, what a compliment. I bet Rita stood a little taller after that, like, hell yeah, I'm Supreme Justice.
He's like, he even says that he wants to find out more about the Fury of the Gods and everything to add it into his stories. So, for the land, so more stuff to put into the legend.
And I really do think that this might be a lead into, like, the next chunk of episodes, where he's going to each of the countries and, like, talking to them and seeing what their experience was on that day.
I'm realizing, you know which place probably got fucked the least by the Fury of the Gods, if they were hit at all?
What?
Yamagast Kingdom, because it was already before him, it was the slums and everything, so maybe it was all junkyard anyway. So they were like,
maybe it caught fire, and then it's an on-fire junk heap.
Yeah, and they're just like,
shit,
it's not
it's on fire.
It's like, well, I guess it's not that bad.
I mean, come on, even a junk pile gets a whole lot worse if it's on fire.
That's fair. And we literally just see all of them go around, and they're in the other gods. Well, yeah, like, she's just like, hey, show your sincerity and help me out.
With your actions, and he's just like, hell yeah.
All right, call the boys. God Tarantula is just like, whoa, I brought the boys. They're back in town.
And he actually initially has, like, webs connected to them. It's like, oh, follow my lead. And Yellow's like, fuck that. This is my country. I'm defending them. You listen to me. And what a cool fight that follows.
Yeah, I like that, like, Gyra's just sounds like he's catching up with Kabuton. And he's just like, how you been, buddy? He's just like, hey, you know.
Oh, you know how it is.
Well, I was just about to say, we got this French dip last night. It was delicious.
Oh, that sounds good. We should try it together. Oh, yeah, that sounds like a great time.
And then, like, Yama was in Hopper, and he was just like, let's hop to the top. He's just like, what?
What? But I have to say, like, I think that they made, like, new 3D renders of each of the kingdoms, and man, they're really using it to their advantage, and it looks so cool. Like, I'm not gonna say it looks realistic or anything, but man, is it fun.
But yeah, no, and you even have Himino, like, reconciling with Scorpio, just being like, oh, you weren't under control. It's pretty much her just being like, I've fucked it up.
All right, I guess.
And then they immediately kick the Bugnark's ass, and Jeremy's just like, well, I guess I should have to call her queen.
But
and we made the cheesiest joke, because this little girl...
She's just like...
Wheelchair girl.
Okay, what can I do for you? She's like, you know what?
How many millions of dollars do you need?
Just like, you know what? I think I'm just... There's so many wonderful, beautiful things here. I don't think I could be happier. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to go and continue on, just defending the country the best that I can. And it was just very sweet.
And do you want to say the joke you
made? It made us both laugh way too fucking hard. And like the literal, it's like, oh, what do you want? And the little girl just turns to you, and I was like, yes, queen. And she just like puts her hand over her heart and like, slay. Like
that was so bad, but it's like I could picture it so
hard.
clearly.
Yes, queen, slay. Like, oh, thank you. It made us laugh.
And then we cut to Reculus with everyone's favorite, Kaguragi. And
he asks how his sister is, and he's like, oh, you want to see her?
And he literally just says, he's like, I cannot see her.
I've steeled myself not to, which I wonder why. And we actually do get to see his sister. She's wearing basically the same outfit, or a very similar outfit.
Yeah, and
she's
that's
got,
where
like,
it ends.
Some facial marks. It's really cute, really cool. Love her outfit.
And that's pretty much it. Next week is Tarantula Night. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited for that. All right.
Want to move on to Geats?
Oh, boy. Geats. So, we pick up right where we leave off, where Ace just annihilates everything, and I think Lord Reginald runs or gets the shit kicked out of him. I can't remember. But he immediately starts trying to go up the yellow brick road with his new Boost Mark III powers, and tries to reach his mom, but sadly does not make it because Cult Leader just sucks it back in, and he's just like, no! And then he crashes into the floor.
Really just freaking plows into the ground, and the tails start to like envelop him, and we see the beginnings of a mysterious figure. Would you like to go on with him before we do anything else, or do you want to just cut away real quick?
No, let's just leave him knocked out for the little bit. Let's go with Tycoon.
Okay, cool.
What?
So his sister...
Tycoon. We'll do the Geet stuff last, you know?
Okay, that's like his whole thing.
That's a good chunk of the episode.
So, I wanted to start this off with like, oh, we see Tycoon interacting with his sister. She doesn't remember anything. And there's like a cute joke of like her using like a skin lightening like face mask, but it's called like skin lightening henshin. And so when she said that, he's just like, oh my god, do you remember? And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But there's an interesting moment because everyone's like spark thing, like if she did end up losing it, because you've mentioned, oh, she could have just like not lost it because of how Buffa broke it, but let's assume for a second that that's not the case and like she did lose her spark. I wonder if that's the circumstance, just because when he's like talking with her in a circumstance she'd probably just laugh off, she says like, huh, ew, and it makes me wonder, like a lot of her spark was her brother and just the family she had left. I'm like, oh my god, does she just like not care about him anymore?
I guess we'll have to find out.
I hope it's not the case, but it was a thought.
And
so we're gonna cut to Lord Reginald.
So Lord Reginald is just like alright, wait, what do you mean we're gonna leave the goddess? I thought you said she was one of a kind. And Cult Leader was just like well, their successor is now ready. We have now recreated.
We've been able to recreate it, and like what we said with like, oh, the future people, everything is decided for you. They were actually able to embody the goddess's power into, drumroll,
did it Surumi?
Surumi, yeah.
And she pretty much, they said, hey, you prayed for something, and then a miracle happened.
We were just waiting for your powers to activate, essentially. You prayed, a miracle happened. And
then immediately Lord Reginald's like, this is a load of bullshit.
Literally everything about this is fake.
Yeah, he's literally just like, he's like, I strive for realness in reality into my desired Grand Prix. He's like, you took a woman's true love to create a fictional image of a goddess. And then he's just like, and then you expect Surumi to take over. That's bullshit. And your thing is worthless. And then he gets shot.
Yeah. Freaking Lady in Yellow.
Samas, I think her name was.
Straight up just shoots him with an actual gun. And,
yeah,
like,
just
guys,
a real gun.
In case, like, you're a little squeamish around blood, a little warning here.
They have a squib.
We are not showing anything in this just because we're scared of YouTube. But, like, when I tell you, like, it looked real. Like,
it just a lot of blood.
It just, like, that thing gushed. I was like, it like, made me, like, whoo.
Like, literally, she's
wasn't
like,
expecting that.
Yeah, she tells him that he's successor and just like leaves him to die, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was not expecting that to be.
They even said
Lord Reginald's end. Like he doesn't die in this scene, but like I was not expecting this to be how he goes out.
Yeah, especially that like just brutally.
He didn't
realistic.
have to die that real.
I mean, the cult leader even says like, "Oh, I never expected you to be emotional over your work of all things."
Do we want to save all the Geet stuff for the end?
I don't know. Is there any like little bit? Do you want to like just
because we have
yeah,
Kyun
we have
with
to
Neon.
All right, let's get to Geets because some big things happen, and then we can talk about the rest.
All right, so Geets is now talking to this masked figure,
and he's in like
fox mask,
a black room with nothing but candles, and like
very eerie.
I forget what they're called. Those little like archways.
Oh, I don't remember what they're called. I know what you're talking about, but
they're
I
not
don't think
shrines.
we have a shot of them.
I don't think they're called shrines,
no,
are
but
they?
They're near shrines, and I can't remember what it is. And it's just like this figure asking what it wants. Where it's like, do you want the power to destroy everything? Is that your ideal world? Do you want to get revenge on the people that killed your mom? And like Ace is just kind of just being like, what the hell are you talking about? And he even just like this masked figure just says, you haven't achieved anything in 2,000 years. It's like
you haven't saved your mom. You haven't even reunited with her.
It's like you've done nothing.
What have you done? It's just like, destruction and creation. That's your wish. Because I think Geets answered at this point where he said, I don't just want destruction. I want destruction. And then I want to recreate it into my ideal world.
Yeah.
Destruction and creation. And
he says you're continuing the goddesses of creation's cycle of sin.
And then he takes off his mask and...
It's another Ace? Which, I don't know if this is another character. Like, this might be a movie character. They might either have an evil Ace or, like, I don't know what this is. Maybe it's just something to represent Ace's darker thoughts. I have no idea.
I wonder if that's just, like, Ace's, like, almost subconscious of, like... Because him right now is almost very new. Like, a lot of this stuff to him is new, and he's not collected, and his mind is scattered. I wonder if this is his mind put together, like the old Ace that has been around for that long, and would kind of probably be acting like this if he didn't need to blend in with society.
But yeah, no.
By the way, can I just also say that the design of the masked guy is awesome. It looks really cool. Mask. I like the mask. I didn't notice that the ear lit up until later, but the ear also lights up.
Yes.
But Geets actually does wake up, and Zine's like right there. And
he's just like, I know what I have to do now.
And you just see his, like, just resolve of...
He's like...
I have to go soon.
Yeah, he's just like, hey... He's like, I'm surprised you're here to help me. He's like, hey, because we want the same thing. And he's like, I must go now. My mother needs me.
And then he, like, beams up.
Yeah, he says, if I wish hard enough, it will be granted. And we immediately see Gazer say... Well, by the way, this is Suru. Cult leader is now Gazer, which now
Gazer
has a
2?
red... Well, no.
I guess it would technically be Gazer 1, and Reginald would have been Gazer 2, huh?
I guess so. But yeah, so he has red lines on his face. And
definitely not the same suit.
So before we go to see what Geets is doing with his mom... let's do the rest of the Grand End stuff.
Because now the Grand End has begun.
Like, the cloak is going over way.
The curtain is drawing.
Yeah. And we see Buffa on a rooftop, and he's just like you see the driver disappear. I jumped to something, but yeah, I just went to Buffa first, and he's just like, oh, and then his driver disappears, and he's like, what am I doing?
Why am I here? And I love this joke. You didn't laugh that much, but I love the joke of just him just like, why am I here? What's happened to my hair? What the hell am I wearing? Like,
yeah, like he starts questioning everything.
Yeah, because it's like he used to wear like really normal clothes, and then Baroba made him fucking wear really weird clothes. So I'm just wondering if he would just question it, just be like, "What the fuck am I wearing?"
And Kyun is looking like a crazy person.
To be fair, like he did like stay up to his word that he gave to Neon of just being like, "If you forget, I will tell you." And he does actually do that, and he does it for as long as possible as the grand end is happening. And we see our boys,
Yep.
Ben and Jerry.
Ben and John.
Ben and John. I know.
And then we see Tycoon get ready and transform, and then
he's running towards it.
Yeah, and then his stuff disappears, and he just starts freaking out at what the hell is going on.
What is that?
And then you just pretty much... we'll do this part too.
Okay, cool.
And then we see Zine and... Kyun just be like, I can't believe it. We have to leave. And like,
I had no idea that parting would hurt this much.
Yeah, and Zine's just like, I've been there, Kyun. I've been there. We gotta get out of here.
And they say goodbye, and they leave on the other side.
And now let's go to see what Geets was doing with his mom. So, for 2,000 years of waiting, we finally see...
Gorgeous scenery. Gorgeous scenery, first of all.
So I don't know if they're like in the statue or what, but they're doing something.
I imagine they're probably like in her mind or something like that.
Yeah, and like his mom's first words are, "Why are you here? I told you to forget about me."
Because like here's the thing, like Ace immediately just doesn't hesitate. He runs and he hugs her, and it was just so heartwarming.
And then he's like, "I've been trying to find you for 2,000 years."
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times I died or how many times I was reborn.
It was worth to find you. And we immediately hear Ace's mom tell him, well, that's what you pray for, so that's what you received.
Because, I don't know, do you want to just, like, talk about this conversation and not have to go, like, beat by beat in it? Because,
yeah, let's just talk about it.
So... essentially what she's talking about is that because he inherited the power of creation from her, and because like she's like, oh, it would be best if you just forgot me, he desperately never wanted to forget her saying that. He didn't want to forget her face. He didn't want to forget what she said to him. He wanted to meet her again, and because that's what he wanted, that's why he's been reborn so many times and why he remembers all of his things, because he wants to remember that one thing, so he has to remember everything after that, essentially.
Yeah, and it's like they both even acknowledge that they both wanted to see each other happy.
And they just kind of ended up, and she even apologizes to him
for giving him this life.
Giving him a cruel fate, and it's so sad, but it's also like very like cathartic, and I imagine very like healing for Ace.
Yeah, and you even see his mom be like, "Hey, I've done a lot of fucked up shit.
Like I need to atone for the sins I've done.
And
I've caused so much sorrow and just."
Yeah.
But Geets is just like, and like the end is starting. Like you see it creeping in, and he's just like, I just found you. I don't want to lose you again. And she actually starts to talk about his father.
Well, she just says, when you were born, like, your father and her
were all happy. And you see him, like, giving Ace the coin as a baby.
Baby Ace.
Oh, baby Ace.
And so all of a sudden, like, it's pretty much her telling her, it's like, hey, you need to move on. You need to say goodbye. It's like, we loved you, and we want you to be happy. And
I was happy watching you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what made me happy, was watching you live on.
Knowing you were out there.
Knowing you were out there and being happy.
And you see Ace kind of be humbled otherwise. And he was like, and he just went into being like, I believe that nobody has to suffer to be happy and everything. And then it's pretty much like the final moment he has with his mom before she says, I love you. And then you see the statue.
He just wants a world where everyone can be happy. I want to, like, use this, like, life, this gift, this wish that you've given me to go and make a world where everyone can be happy.
Yeah.
And she just looks at him and she's fading away and just says, I love you.
Yeah.
And then you just see the statue basically explode.
Yeah, and again, you just see Ace say, it's like, her asking Ace to live on for her.
And, like, and then, of course, like, Cult Leader is just like, the grand end is complete.
The curtains close on the Desire Grand Prix, and then Ace walks in just saying, it's over when I say it's fucking over.
But before that, we do see Lord Reginald, like, as Gates comes out and from, like, his meeting with his mom. By the way, 2,000 years for that one meeting. It was probably all fucking worth it to him. Goddamn.
She's free.
And Lord Reginald just looks over at him. He's like, I watched your world for years, and I've never met anyone like you, and I could have watched until the very end.
No, he wished he could have seen the end.
I wish he could have watched till the end. And then you just see Lord Reginald die, essentially.
Yeah, depixelizes and dies.
He super compresses and then deletes.
Yeah, somebody put him in the recycle bin. By the way, I'm so sad to see Reginald go. It's like he weirdly he was a villain, but not really. Like
he stayed very consistent in what he wanted,
benevolent.
And he just kind of got mad when anyone. It doesn't matter who kind of got in the way of that.
Well, yeah, it's like because it's like yes, he fought Geets, yes, he fought Buffa, but that was because people told him to or it interfered with what he wanted.
Yeah, he was just doing his job, and he wanted his job to be a certain way.
Exactly. So it's like he's a weird middle ground where I'm never gonna say he was a hero, but he definitely was not a villain either.
I'd say chaotic neutral.
Yeah,
or lawful.
He was definitely a lawful neutral. Like he wanted it in a certain way, and he will be missed.
Yeah, and. Like, what was it? Like, the thing of, like, each of, like, the future people having a feeling that they're trying to constantly track down. I talked to you a little bit about this, and I wonder if Lord Reginald was, like, either... Because he's just like, oh, I know what happiness is. It's a warm bowl of ramen on a cold day under an umbrella. Did we talk about that already?
I think we did.
Anyway, I just said, like, oh, what if his emotion that he was searching was contentment or just... Cozy. And, which was really sweet.
And then you get...
all right, so after he takes a bow, Cult Leader takes a bow, it's like, oh, and it's the end of the Grand Prix. Ace is just, like, it's very Evangelion-esque, where it's like they're in a gym and the lights are turning on. He's just like, bitch. Not if I say so, or whatever you said.
Yeah, just... No, and then Geets says, the party's over when I say it's over. And you see him pull out his buckle, new buckle.
It's like the coolest toy ever.
This is legitimately one of the coolest fights, and this belt is and this whole transformation is really cool. And we get Geets 9.
Guys, it's like the sexiest suit I've ever seen.
It's so good. The white, the red, the 9 tails. It is beautiful. And you literally see him impact and see the full floor explode, but then rebuild itself. We saw a wall do it.
He walks down an invisible staircase. Like in this fight, like he's like landing on buildings and shattering glasses, and then you hear the dong of like the clock that you hear from the goddess whenever they make a wish, and all of it just fix itself. Oh, it's so fucking cool.
And it does one of the coolest fourth wall breaks ever. Like, because, like, by this point, the theme song is kicked in, it is going, and you just see him put his finger up and just, like, does the little shh, and then the music stops.
It just goes into, it, like, fades out, and it's just, like, dead silent. Because usually when you get fourth wall breaks, it's, like, turning to the camera being like, get it, kids?
Or it's like we had Vice, like, last year where it's, like, the wait for it, 3,
1, 2, 1,
yeah.
Like... And stuff like that. Like, usually, that's what you see, but, like, Geets just being like, nah, I want this to be quiet.
And then switches it to gun mode, and then knocks
in, like, the coolest way possible, of course.
Yeah, and knocks all of the Gazer's little pauldron, little, like, helmet pads off.
He uses it like a whip, by the way, which is very cool. I love that they even gave him a distinct fighting style.
Yeah, and he punches him into the ground to where his limbs are stuck on the end of it and starts being the shit out of him.
Yeah, because he, like, fixes it, but his, like, arms and legs are still in it. We got a couple of other really cool shots. Oh, they're so good.
And then we see him put up a bunch of shields, and Geets just throws his sword through them, and then does a rider kick and stabs him in the heart.
With the fucking sword through the thing. Oh, it was so cool, guys.
It was literally the coolest shit I've ever seen.
It was crazy, bro.
Like, seriously,
you guys see it.
Geets is one of those shows where I keep every almost debut of something where I'm like, that's like the coolest shit I've ever seen. And I just keep saying it every time. But it's weirdly so true because it looks so amazing.
I remember you, like, legitimately, like, just said it step by step. And I couldn't get annoyed even though you're saying the same shit over and over again. Because I was like, you're right. Like...
It's just so good.
By the way, like, after he explodes, he just gets sucked into a black hole and just disappears.
Yeah.
And you said that you thought he died here because he's just like, will the world that you make be a utopia or dystopia? Because he's, like, kind of fading away and he's, like, really fucked up. But you do see him leave, so I'm fairly sure he's still around.
Yeah, and we get the last Desire Royale entry.
Royale? Yeah.
It says Desire Grand Prix will restart in a new era, and then you see it glitch out and says Kamen Rider Geets has the power of creation to remake the world.
And it's a completely new logo all over again. Oh, guys, it's so good!
We're in Geets' game, baby!
Oh, I can't wait to see what happens, honestly. I just like I felt like I just watched the ending, so now I'm just like, ooh, there's more. Like,
yeah, and this was just a good week of episodes.
oh, such good stuff.
Like, I feel like we haven't been talking for that long, but I feel like this was just a good week of just action and fun parts of the episode.
It's all of the payoff for all of the stuff that they had been building up. It's like all of the things that they were setting up with like Geats' mom and like, you know, his lineage and the goddess and the future people and the fucking Desire Grand Prix and all that crazy shit. It's like this is like the climax and the resolution and then like the consequences of that. So it's just so cool to see. And now it's just like, okay, what now from here, you know?
Now what? And yeah, no, we had 2 great debuts. Obviously, I think the Himino
this was such a good fucking episode.
King Oger and Geats just knocked it out this week. The regular special was okay.
It's fine. God, if it wasn't the debut of Geats 9, I probably would have put King Oger first.
But Geats 9 was just too good.
This was like, if this were like basically most other episodes of Geats, I probably would have put King Oger first this week, but like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Now they're just even. Like, they're just so freaking cool. But, like, that's also the debut of his final form, and it's so cool. I really need to see, like, a tier list of, like, all of the writers that have become gods, like, canonically.
Yeah, and you can just create anything.
Yeah, it's just, like, I feel like even, like, Gaim would just be like, you know what? I think I'm going home on this one, fellas. You know,
yeah,
I think I'm gonna pass. I think I'm gonna pass on that.
It's so funny because there are so many that can do that, and then you have ones like Kuga that just has like fucking like a rider kick, like has a rider kick that's like the equivalent of like 90 nuclear bombs.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's just like I wonder, like I would love to see like who is like the strongest, and then who would hold up against those people. You know, if they were to battle royale in a way. Because I honestly, like, even though it's like, yeah, this is what we're watching right now, so that's what we would think, I honestly think Geats would probably dominate because he has such broken OP powers right now, right?
He's broken. Like, you can't tell me, like, somebody like, I don't know.
Saber?
I don't know. Not even Saber, like, well, no, but I'd say Geo could stand up because he deletes people from time. Oma Geo, at least.
Yeah, but, like...
But, like, do you think, like, Drive could? He's just a police officer who can go really, 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 really fast. Like, that's not fair.
Who's married with a kid. Like, and then there's just Geats that's just like, I am your god now. Bring me your virgins.
Quite literally. T-posed.
Oh, such good stuff, man.
But yeah, no. Really good week. Yeah, any other thoughts?
Guys, it's so good.
I'm excited for Tarantula Night.
Legitimately, I'm not even saying this just because, like, oh, it's your channel and trying to promote something, but, like, when you inevitably put out that Geats buckle video of Geats 9.
Way long before this.
Okay, cool. Like, guys, go and freaking watch just so you can see this toy. Legitimately, when you showed me how this toy functioned, I was like, that is literally the coolest shit I've seen in a long time. It's just like the way that it's like, it's an engineering masterpiece in a way. I just like, I don't know how the fuck they figured out how to make the toy do that, but oh my god, is it mwah, beautiful. Like, again, I'm not even doing it to be like, oh, go watch these other videos. Like, legitimately, guys, it's just really cool. Or just get the toy if you can. It's really cool.
You heard it here first, which by that means you heard it from my other video first. By the Geats 9 buckle. But
yeah, just find one.
All right. So, I guess thank you so much for watching.
Do you have any last thoughts?
No, I'm good.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for watching.
And until whatever we do next, until next week.
Bye-bye.